Right. Yes. And I agree. Thank you guys for posting that comment in the comment section. I agree. What a beautiful voice. And I got to say, you've done
Thank
some
you.
songs that were some of my favorite songs. And I'm going to tell you, especially on that was Only God Can Judge Me, the album by Master P that came out in 1999, I think. I feel like
Yeah, I
because
think so.
Ghetto Postage came out in 2000. Doing this all off the top
Hmm.
of my head, but that song Boonopolis was one of my favorite songs. And can I be honest? I swear to you guys, I am not a Master P hater. If he would have cut out all that talking at the end of that and just let the song play out, maybe replay the hook. I guess I'm speaking kind of from a producer standpoint, but it was like an
Hmm.
awesome, awesome song. Loved your voice on there. And then on top of that, shout out to Romeo because Romeo ended up, I think he commented on something I had posted on Instagram, which is pretty dope. So shout out to him. And it was had something to do with his rap snacks, the chips or whatever. Anyway,
Hmm.
but that song that was featured, and I think it was the number one song on the Billboard for 13 weeks, which was I think it was what was it, My Baby? Yeah, My Baby on Little Romeo's
Yes.
very first album. So what do you think about the fact that, and I'll give a little bit more about your history here in a moment, but what do you think about the fact that he's one of the biggest stars out there right now, and the fact that you were the person that brought him out, gave him his coming out party?
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, of course, I'm very excited for Rome. You know, Rome was a little boy back then. So to see how he has blossomed and groomed um, into not just an artist, but an actor, an entrepreneur, and everything, I'm proud of him because he was a little boy back then. So I've watched him, literally watched him grow up. So I'm proud of him, and to be able to play a part in that, um, of course, I'm excited to know that, yeah, that was my voice, and that was something that that song was household, you know. So it's a pleasure to have played a role in his career. Yes,
Right.
the
And
start of his career. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And so what I want to do is kind of give people a little bit of a background on your history, kind of how you got started with No Limit. And you correct me if I'm wrong about anything, but basically you're born and raised in Baton Rouge, in the what
Yes.
they I almost said we. Let me not try to take credit for y'all stuff. Sorry, I just love y'all so much. I'm sorry, but y'all call it the BR, right?
BR, Big Raggedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but you're born and raised in Baton Rouge, and you were signed to Master P's No Limit Records in 1998, contrary to the
Hmm.
1997 listing. And
Hmm.
but then it says, being that this was the era when No Limit was the hottest label in hip hop, Miss Peaches, who we have here with us speaking tonight, experienced the chance to feature on numerous albums of her label mates, such as C Murder, Corey Miller, shout out to him, and Free C Murder, by the way, until C Murder
Free
Free. So
C. Yes.
yes. My guy, Mr. Servon, shout out to him. Silk, The Shaka,
Hmm.
Master P, Mystical, Big Ed, RIP, Moby Dick, 504 Boys, Mac, also free Mac, McKinley Phipps, free my guy, you know what I'm saying? Prime Suspects
Yes.
and
Free
Miss
Mac.
Mercedes. Shout out to Miss Mercedes if she's out there listening somewhere. But Miss Peach's voice became a household recognition when she featured and performed on Little Romeo's first single, My Baby, which was a remake of, which some of you guys would know if y'all heard it, Michael Jackson's I Want You Back, or it was actually the Jackson 5. It wasn't Michael Jackson. It's the Jackson 5. Maybe
Right.
some people ain't
Right.
old enough to remember that, right? But
Yes.
it was a household jingle and charted number one on the Billboard for 13 weeks, which is hella impressive. Very, very impressive. But Miss Peaches
Hmm.
has also worked with former members on the other side of Cash Money like BG, Soldier Slim, and her hometown Trill ENT, if you guys might know some people by the name of Lil Boosie, Webby, and Fox. Does that sound
Yes.
about right?
Yep. Yep.
So I mean that kind of gave. So let me ask you this: how did you get into joining with No Limit, collaborating with them? How does that process start? How do you get there?
It was crazy. Okay. So Mia X had a concert in Baton Rouge at one of a popular club, which is still popular till today, called Vibes. And me and a group of my friends and cousins, we was going to the Mia X concert, and we went to the concert. Of course, it was lit. Yeah, we had a blast. And so after the concert, we were on the interstate, and we just saw some cars passing us that we knew was not from Baton Rouge, right? So we kind of did the groupie thing. We followed them, and they went to this building that at that time we didn't know, but it was their studio. And we kind of parked around the corner and was just looking to see, who was getting out of the cars. And so finally, uh, one of my boys from oh my goodness, Prime Suspects,
Yeah.
Gangster T, he came over and he started talking to us because they was wanting to know who was parked in that car. Like, they was ready to draw down because they didn't know who it was. So anyway, we ended up, it was a car full of females, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up talking, and more people pulled up or whatever. So then Moby ended up pulling up.
Yeah.
And at that time, me and two of my cousins who was with me, we used to be a church group, singing growing up in church. We was a girls' church group. And so we told Moby that we knew how to sing or whatever. So to make a long story short, he had took down, our contact number and was like, he was going to hit us up. Well, that didn't happen, like right after. And I ended up going to a talent show like maybe a month or so later after we had met them. I ended up going to a talent show with another rapper from Baton Rouge, who invited me to tag along to a talent show in Lafayette, Louisiana. And Moby just so happened to be at that talent show. So I reintroduced myself, and reminded him that I was one of the females that he had met and he remembered or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I gave my contact information again, and lo and behold, it wasn't even a week or two later, I was at home and I got a call saying, "You ready? You ready to record at the studio?" And I was like, "Yeah," I was excited. So at the time I didn't have my own ride, so he asked me where I live. He came and picked me up, brought me to the studio. The very first song that I recorded was "C Murder's Life or Death." Mm. And Moby told me how he wanted the song to go. I sang it, and the rest was history. I think I was recording on almost every album No Limit put out after that.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
And matter of fact, when you say Moby Dick is one of the key people that was with No Limit. I mean, he provided so much production. I mean, but he's also related to Master P, if I understand correctly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So
that's my family.
So that's how you end up getting signed. You end up doing your first song. Like I say, it was definitely a memorable song because I'm sorry, like I just got so many stories. Like I'll never forget the day because, I didn't have, like, my parents wouldn't take me to Blockbuster Music back in the day. So I had to go to Walmart sometime, and I would have to buy the Walmart version of the No Limit albums because you see them there, you want them. And so when I got Life or Death and I heard the edited version of it or whatever, but I will never forget when they let you play the little samples. Remember, you used to be able to walk up, put the headphones on, press the button, and it'll let you hear like 15 seconds of the song. And I heard your voice, and I was like, I like this song. Your voice made me buy Life or Death, the album. Shout out to Corey Miller. But yeah, that's why I bought that album. So kind of tell me as far as like what your experience was with No Limit as far as like when it comes to life in the studio, or just kind of whatever you want to talk about as far as like creating, like how was the creation process for songs? Did you write all your own stuff? Did maybe some of the collaborations you did?
For the most part, for the majority of the work that I've done with No Limit, I wrote, whatever it was, whether I sang, rap, or whatever. Some of the songs, like Life or Death, it was already Moby, he had already knew what the hook was going to be, how he wanted it to go. Um, Even with Silk the Shocker, because the Silk the Shocker song, Thuggin' Me, was the next song that I recorded. And Moby had already wrote the hook for that. I don't know if y'all remember that one, but it was like, it never ever really mattered too much to me.
Oh
And
yeah.
you were just too damn ghetto for me. Well, that was already written. Um, but after that, I think that's when I was allowed to start showing my creative side, like with writing, showing that I can write hooks, I can write songs, and um, for the most part, I wrote a lot of like with Boonopolis, to keep it real with me, and I keep it real with you. Of course, I wrote that hook and freestyled at the very end when I was saying, "You don't ever have to worry about me saying I'm your lady." Like, because I come from a church background,
Hmm.
we ad lib in church,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
yeah.
was easy. It was always easy for me to ad lib, you know, from the hooks that I wrote or that was already written. So I did a lot of writing. Some of the things were written, um, and the Romeo song, I will say I did not write. I actually wasn't supposed to be on that song, but I don't know if you have questions about that song
Oh,
later, so I'm gonna be
I want to
quiet.
hear about that. I have two things to ask you. And by the way, you got some fans in the chat, so make sure you say hi to them. It got some people that love you.
Hello, hi everybody. Thank y'all. Love y'all.
So I got two things I want to ask. As far as Boonopolis, I always hated that name that he named that song. I said, P, come on, bruh. Like, don't name it.
I don't
I'm like, I
know.
get what you're trying to do. Like, hey, it's kind of like when you're trying to come up with the next new thing. I wish he would have just named it something else. Don't even say that
Right,
word, and it was a perfect song. And then, of course, cut all that bullcrap out at the end where you were doing all that talking. Too much talking. My personal taste.
right.
But about that song, now you said you didn't write that. Please tell us the genesis of that song, "My Baby" on Lil Romeo's album, his feature song on that album.
Hmm. Okay, so when by that time, which was I want to say that was like 2000 going into 2001, I kind of was already away from No Limit. Now I still was around C True Records, but I kind of had ran my course with No Limit. But a lady friend of mine who was a beautician, and she twists hair. She used to twist Silk hair, and so Silk wanted to fly her out to Houston to do his hair, and of course I flew out with her. Well, we stayed at Silk House, and that morning, I didn't know all the artists like Rome, Slayshawn, Mr. Magic, Mike Diesel, the producer. Like I didn't know anybody was there because we were upstairs. So when I woke up, and went downstairs, I heard the music or whatever. So I go into the studio and I'm chopping it up with everybody. And when I walk out, I run into P. He's walking in, and he's walking. He was walking from somewhere, but anyway, he came to me and he was like, "Look," he said, "I got this song that Romeo doing, and I don't know if anybody remember 3LW,
Oh
Three Little
yeah,
Women."
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he said, "I had this song that I want to put 3LW on, Rome song, and I want to know if you can sing the hook for him, and just to show him how it goes."
What is my
So
and
I
shout
was
out to
like,
my brother Kurt Dog. What does he call that when you do god dang it, what is it called? You not sample. What do they call that? Like basically when you lay down something for somebody else to come actually perform. I forget.
like demo. I demoed it
Okay, okay. I
for
can't
them,
I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
right? But so he asked me would I show 3LW how the song go, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I went in the studio. Magic Installation. They was telling me how the song was gonna go. I got in the booth. I recorded it. And it wasn't until a couple of months later. I was in New Orleans with my oldest brother. May he rest in peace. We was leaving a daiquiri shop. Off of I remember like it was yesterday. We was off Manhattan at the daiquiri shop, and we were talking. We got in the car and we was talking, and the radio was like up a tiny bit. And I told my brother, I was like, hold up. I said, turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
And when he turned it up, it was me.
Oh, okay.
Um, and it was the Romeo song. And I was just like, wow.
So,
You know,
so you
I didn't
initially,
know I was going to be on the song.
so you initially were just doing, and thank you to my guy Anthony in the chat, said it was a reference track.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
really dope. And I think if I remember that video correctly, weren't you in that music video also? You were not.
No, no.
Huh. Okay.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. That song was probably the biggest song of my career with No Limit, and I played no parts in it.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So there's something we definitely did not know. I definitely didn't know that 3LW was in the works for that, which also kind of reminds me of, it ain't got nothing to do with, well, let me just stay on what we're talking about, because that's, sorry, I'm just getting kind of, want to talk about so much. But somebody in the chat, and I don't mind if people in the chat have questions, but Anthony actually asked that he wanted to know about the song called Pony Ride with Mercedes. Did you do that song with her?
Yes. I actually came up with the hook for Pony Ride.
Let me take you on a pony ride, something while
Yeah.
my loving goes on, and I kind of remember how it go.
Yeah. Um, with Mercedes' album, um, we were in California, and the studio that we was at, it had two studios. Um, so Mercedes would be on one side of the studio recording, and me and producers and other people or the artists or whatever, we would be in the other studio coming up with other songs, writing and just thinking of things to help her with writing her album. And Pony Ride was one of them. Odell was doing the beat, and while he was doing the beat, I came up with the hook, and all of us that are singing on it, because a couple of people had verses on it: Odell, Erica Fox, Mercedes, and myself. Everybody wrote their own hook, but I think don't quote me on it. I think I wrote Mercedes' verse and my verse, and I wrote the hook.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Collaborative efforts, nothing wrong with that, because like I say, and people got to understand that it was so many artists there, and it's like damn near everything was like a collaborative project.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what it was. A team of creative people writing. Uh, that's I mean that's what music labels do.
So let me ask you this.
Even with me being a writer, I haven't always wrote 100% of everything that I've sang. I sometimes because I get writer's block, or just if somebody hears something and say, hey, I think you should say this, of course you want that. So
okay, let me ask you this. What is your favorite song from your time period with No Limit, or do you have a couple? What's your favorite song that you were on?
My favorite was one, and I love my sis Mercedes, so I don't want, because I know the internet like to blow stuff up, but this one particular song was kind of like my baby. It was gonna be my first solo song, which was Crazy About You.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm so crazy about you.
Yes.
Let me stop. Let me stop. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm a fan.
So Magic had actually wrote that song, and we were in California. P flew everybody out to California to work on a solo song for the Foolish movie soundtrack. And I was at the hotel room, and I kept trying to get a hold of P, because I'm like, everybody was going through their songs, and I'm just sitting at the hotel. I'm like, I got to do my song. So Magic got with me, and he's like, Peaches, don't worry about it, because we had a deadline. So Magic was like, Peaches, don't worry about it. We're going to get your song done. So Magic reached out to Dez, part of Sons of Funk.
Okay.
He reached out to Dez, and it was the day before the deadline. Dez came and picked me and Magic up from the hotel, brought us back to his crib, and the guy who plays the guitar was somebody who Dez got to come over, and I think that guy used to play the guitar for Michael Jackson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he
Um,
was good, real good.
yeah, yeah, he was really good. And so we went to Dad's house. Me and Magic recorded "Crazy About You," and it flowed so perfect. So everything that you hear P saying, when he first walked in and say "Mercedes, Mercedes, I'm humble," like every single thing that they're saying was what me and Magic were saying. And we finished the song, got the song like mixed, mastered. I mean, I was up till maybe 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock the next morning, no sleep, anything, because the deadline was the next morning. We had to meet at Priority Records to give PR song. So um, we got to Priority Records. P came in, and at that time, many of y'all might not know about ADAT. So um, everybody had their ADAT. I had my ADAT. P was kind of shocked because he knew he hadn't put me, got me with anyone to do my song. So I had my song or whatever, and he took everybody's song. He left out the room. Um, a couple of hours later, he came back. He didn't really say too much, but one of the attorneys at the time was like, he really liked that song.
Mm.
So I don't really know what happened with the song because the Foolish soundtrack came out, the Foolish movie came out, the song didn't make it, and he never mentioned anything about the song until um, it was time for Mercedes and Fiend and Magic. They all worked on their albums around the same time. If you don't recall, they all kind of dropped around the same time.
Yep.
And uh, P came to me and Magic. We were at his house because everybody was getting ready to fly out to Cali to work on, the different albums. And he told me and Magic, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take y'all song and I'm gonna, let Mercedes put it on her album, and I'm just gonna give y'all credit for it." I
Okay.
was crushed.
Mm.
I was crushed because that was like my baby. That was the first, that was my first solo song that I had ever done, and nobody ever heard the original, song or whatever. And that's always been my favorite. That's always been my favorite. And even outside of it being on Mercedes album, I still love the "Who Kept the Nana Fresh for You, the best for you." A lot of people who like that song um, come to me and they start singing that part of the song. So
Man,
yeah,
wow. What a hell of a
yeah,
story. I'm glad I asked you that question. That's a hell of a story behind that song.
yeah.
Wow.
So that has to be my favorite. Um, Boonopolis is too.
Yeah, you killed.
Boonopolis is too, just because I like to sing, So Boonopolis, that song gave me a chance to kind of sing with no bars. It wasn't like, your original like gangster rap song.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so they brought up two other songs in the chat. One of them being "Could It Be" with Moby Dick, and then the other
Mhm.
one is "Wanna Get Away" with Magic, which was on
Mhm.
Thuggin. Definitely remember that 1999. Definitely. But
Yes.
do you want to tell us what your thoughts are about "Could It Be" with, on Moby Dick? Because I don't quite remember that one.
Well, Moby is, that song was kind of like that old school feeling. So and at that time, I was a big smoker. So the vibe was so just it was really good. It was a real positive energy, positive vibe, and um Moby was writing his part of the song. I was writing my part of the song, and when we got in the studio to record it, the way that it flowed was really, really good. So by the time we finished, we in the studio like dancing like we back in the '60s or something, with that song, because that's the vibe that it gave.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what could it be? That's how that was created. Magic would want to get away. Like I said, Magic was recording his album around the time Mercedes recorded her. So uh, we were still in that double studio thing, and I just never forget Magic. um I always would tell him like he had like this preacher vibe to him when he rapped.
Uh huh.
uh so it's kind of sad when you think about it, just thinking back, because I could see it like it's yesterday, while he'll record his part of the song, and then I go behind him, and he stood next to me, because normally nobody stands by you when you in the booth recording, but uh, Magic stood next to me while I was singing, um, the song, and he would come in and do kind of ad libs while I was singing
Mm.
the hook, when he said, "I want to get away," he was standing right beside me when he, wanted to do whatever the ad libs, as opposed to letting me record it first and then he come get on top of it, of the ad libs. It wasn't like that. He stood right there, and it was definitely a magical moment.
Yeah,
The way he
special.
recorded.
That's special right there, and that sounds so cool. And I'm gonna tell you something. And R.I.P. to Mr. Magic, and his wife. But
Yes.
I could totally see him doing something like that, almost kind of like he probably had like a brotherly kind of spirit around you.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. I have some stories. I'm not gonna tell him, but I have some stories where Magic done had to put his foot down when was groupies would come around. Like if we was on tour or something, and groupies would come around, and of course they hold no bars and they don't care about females being around. And Magic done put some people in their place. Like, look, y'all see, we got, you know, I would outside of Mia, a lot of the times I would probably be the only female if Mercedes wasn't there. But particularly at these particular moments, it would just be just me. And we get off the elevator and females be in a disrespectful manner. He'll put them in their place real quick and say, "Don't y'all see her right there? At least let her go to her room." So
Straight up.
definitely, definitely brotherly, definitely protective. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so wow, man, God, I'm so blown away. Like I want to keep going with this. Okay, so okay, because people are still asking about certain songs, and y'all can definitely ask those questions in the chat. Somebody said, what was she about to sign? Were you about to sign with True Records, or were you? Because I know that C Murders. They ended up being C Murders thing.
Right. You
TR.
really didn't have to. I didn't. Well, I was on contract with No Limit, but I was definitely True Records all the way. Anybody that know me, that even P even knew that I was True Records all the way. So I didn't have to sign, because it was a verbal agreement, a verbal contract, that I was definitely ride or die True Records. Yes.
Yeah, man, wow, people are really going crazy. Like they're posting a lot of stuff in the chat. Let me ask you this, because one of the things that I remember, which this is the part that really dug into my soul, because I used to
Hmm.
take all my yard cut money. I used to have to go cut them yards. It was hot as shit outside. I had allergies and asthma, about to die out there trying to collect this little $25 to go take this money and go to the
Hmm.
nearest music store, whatever I needed to do. If I had to borrow it, if I had to cleverly borrow
However you can get
without
it.
somebody noticing or whatever, I had to have
Hmm.
everything No Limit, or at least listen to it. I'm like, let me borrow your
Hmm.
CD, let me do something. But my whole thing is you know how the inserts would always have what the next coming project was going to be, which is actually an idea by my guy TC. Shout out to my guy Tobin Costin, by the way, because
Yeah.
he
What's
was
up,
the
CC?
yeah
I did
he
a song with him. I don't know what happened to it, but yeah.
I'll hit him up. I hit him up. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to make that connection for sure.
Hmm.
But when talking to him, like he told me that was kind of an idea that came from him to let people know and announce what was coming out, and that was a huge thing
Hmm.
for me coming from a consumer standpoint. And I saw that and I said, "Oh shit, Miss Peaches, Ghetto Angel about to come out, and this and that." And I was just like I say, to me, I'm like, I want to hear everything. I want to hear
Right.
everything. So tell me what happened to that album that was supposed to be released through No Limit, and I believe this was probably like around 99 or 2000.
Yeah. Well, before I could even start working on the album, I mean, I kind of um my run with No Limit had kind of ran its course. This is when, you know, um, Beats by the Pound, they were basically kind of going away, and this is when No Limit was kind of separated. Um, and honestly, I wasn't concerned with putting out. Now, of course, when I did the album cover, I was excited about putting out an album. Um, but around the time when we probably should have been working on an album, um, No Limit just wasn't what it was. The atmosphere, the knit family, it was just a lot of things that wasn't what it used to be, and um, I decided that I did not want to do any more songs under the No Limit label.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I said, I only want you to answer what you feel comfortable answering or whatever. Because, like I said, there's some things I know, some things have been revealed in other interviews that I've done. If you guys want to go check those interviews out, by the way. But so,
Right.
like I said, I won't dip into anything that we ain't really got to talk about. But like I say, I know I was interested. Like I said, not only being a fan of yours from what I heard in the
Mm-hmm.
songs that you did, but it was just kind of like not only was it your album, but it seemed like there were like, man, if I get the name and albums right now, I could say Miss Peaches. I could say what the hell.
Dig,
I could say what
Popeye.
happened to Dig, what happened to Papa, what happened
Right.
to to my guy Freedom, what happened
Yeah.
to Portia, what happened
Mm-hmm.
to goddamn Alexis, what happened
Yeah.
to who else? It was I think Baby Soldier who was hold on, that was not, no, that was Kevin Miller's son, wasn't it?
No, that was Hot Boy Jimmy's son.
Oh, okay. No,
Baby Soldier, he was Lil Jimmy.
okay, no disrespect, but after if anybody listen, I'm sorry I got that wrong. But okay,
Right.
so I remember he was supposed to have an album. Then there was
Mm-hmm.
so many of them, and that was the thing that pissed me off because the anticipation had got you so high, and I'm like, I'm gonna
Right.
buy everything that y'all put out, and then you have all of these projects dangling in your face. You see the artwork, and then it's just nothing materialized, and it broke my heart as a fan. And it was like after
Yeah.
2000, to be honest with you, I didn't really give a shit what came out after that. I'm like, no, I want this shit that y'all said that y'all promised. I don't care what y'all issue is, fix it, put it out, release it some kind of way,
Right.
something, So I was definitely looking for, yeah, 2 for 1. Thank you, man. Y'all are good.
Yes.
I got some
Yes.
No
The
Limit
twins.
fans in the
Yeah. My girls
house.
too.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this
Yeah.
because I think 2 for 1. Well, like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with you, but they were originally, were they ghetto twins or was that two separate people?
Oh, no, 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 no. That's two separate.
Okay,
That's
because
two
I went
totally
back because I
separate.
was
Yeah.
confused and I went back and listened to their song yesterday when they were on the No Limit All Stars, and I listened to that
Hmm.
song again and I was like, no, that's not the same set of girls. That's
Nah, Ghetto Twins was big when Mia X first came out. With before the No Limit, when the Mia X is when I came
yeah.
out, rap yours, get out my face, yeah, yeah. I was a diehard. Me and my girls was diehard Ghetto Twin
Okay,
fan.
because I
So
got real
yeah, they
confused
was a
about
little
that.
they were a little bit right before the big No Limit run. So
Okay. I got
yeah.
you. And I think that was around 96, 97.
Mhm.
And the
Yep.
only reason I remember that was because I know that them and like I said, it got nothing to do with you. Let me stick to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Like it's just so much. Like I said, I know that you were kind of privy to some of this stuff, but
Nah, I mean, and let me set this straight for the record, because I walked away with like I don't have it, because I know a lot of stuff is going on since this No Limit Chronicles thing. I have no animosity. I have no beef. I have no. But when every how they say it about everything good doesn't last. You
mm-hmm.
know,
Oh yeah.
always and forever. And that was my experience with No Limit. I love what I do. I have a passion for what I do. I was writing songs since I was 8 years old. I was singing way before. Like I was a star in school because I was in everything. So music for me was more than No Limit Records.
Yeah.
So
So let me ask you this when it with regard to let me see how do I want to ask this. There were a lot of artists that had their
mhm.
issues with regard to publishing, especially now, and I definitely want to get back to No Limit Chronicles here in a moment. What are your thoughts on did let me ask you this. Did you experience any issues or are you good with the whole thing as far as like once you decided to take the next step in your career after No Limit? Are you good with that? Or do you have any reservations about kind of how things ended? Could things been a little bit better, or are you getting your just due? How do you feel about that? As far as the question, how do you feel about that?
um, this is this is just how I because I've learned. I was 18, 19 years old then. I'm from small town Baton Rouge. We don't know nothing about the business side of it. And um, once you've learned that um, you're writing music and you're creating um, music that could create generational wealth,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put it that way, for your future, and you realize that um, it's not something that you'll ever see or that you have. I'm not going to say that you'll never see, but that you don't get your fair share. That's just the bottom line. Um, I just feel like that's where you know I guess
I
the
got a,
line is crossed.
I got a good
You
question.
know,
I got a good question for you.
mhm,
Looking in hindsight, right now, if you could go back right now with the knowledge that you have, would you have done anything different? And what would you have
definitely,
done different? What would you have done different?
I would have had my business straight before I ever signed a contract. I would have the contract was probably uh, my hands probably can't open as wide for you to see it, but the contract was extremely thick. Um, and like I said, well, I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm young. I don't know what this is I'm signing. I don't know that I'm signing all of my publishing over um,
Mmm.
for $1.
Mmm.
So I would definitely have had the business side of it together. I would not have put my name or signed a contract that I knew was signing away my rights to my credit,
Mmm. Wow.
to the real money. I would have never signed that away, um, because that's what I know now, that's where the money is at. The money is not in the person who's singing the song. The money is going to the person who's getting the royalty checks for writing the songs.
Mm-hmm.
But if the person didn't write it, but they getting paid as if they were the writer, then that's what I would have done different. I would have made sure that I wouldn't have just gotten a credit on the record. I would have gotten credit with BMI, ASCAP, and everything like that. And what was due to me, I would not have had to depend on the record label to pay me, for the work that I've done. BMI, they don't have a choice. They're gonna pay you as long as your name, the paperwork is straight. So that's what I would do different. I would make sure that I have an attorney or um, have knowledge of what it is that I'm signing, and not just being excited that I'm doing what I love to do. And at that time, that's all that mattered, was that I was doing what I love to do,
Right.
until I, realized, like, okay, I'm doing what I love to do, but bills ain't getting paid. So, you know,
Yeah. Wow. That's
so
that's
yeah.
that's that's very powerful because you don't have to say this. I'm gonna say it. I've talked to other artists, and I know that's a lot of what a lot of them dealt with. Hell, even if I go to the homies Full Blooded, shout out to the Hounds from Gertown, to a lot of those guys. Like I've heard a lot of people say when they talking about ruining careers and stuff like that. And I'm glad that a lot of them went ahead and put out their own stories, so you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
confirm that. What you're basically kind
Mm-hmm.
of just saying is, if I looked in hindsight, of course, yes, I would have. I'm wiser now. I know more things now. Yes, of course, I would have done things a bit different for sure.
Right.
And I know that the
Right.
music
And the thing
industry.
about it is this, what people need to realize, and if you have younger people who's watching, like, and who's aspiring to be artists, um, this is the music industry, period.
Yes.
It's not just a No Limit Records thing. This is how the music industry is basically run. It they're getting fed off of the artist's creation,
Mm-hmm.
and you do realize that you're an investment. They do invest in you, so they do deserve something. But as an artist, you deserve something as well.
Yeah. So okay. And matter of fact, and QB, like I almost forgot about him. He
That's my brother.
Ghetto Ingredients. I was so pissed off that never. Oh my God, I was pissed off that I didn't see
Yeah.
Ghetto Ingredients come out. And C Murder had advertised it twice. Yes, I was hot.
Mm-hmm.
If I was hot about something, I'm sorry, but I don't know what happened to that dude. If anybody out there in the world loves some No Limit, if y'all know how to get in touch with him, anyway. But
Oh, that's my brother. I talk to him all the time.
you got
Yeah, so I got you.
I have okay. So okay, let's go. Yeah, thank you. Somebody else is posting the Tank Dolls album. God, just so much. KLC hits about a pound. Like I'm like, what happened to all of that? So anyway,
That's my family. Yes.
so here let's go ahead and move this thing forward just a hair. No
Mm-hmm.
Limit Chronicles is released, and this is a series kind of telling the story. A lot of people feel how I feel. Like I said, I've been in New Orleans. I'm telling you, I've talked to people. I know how people feel about it. And a lot of people feel like it's not a No Limit story. It's more or less, it's damn near seems like a personal biography of a particular person. But my whole thing is, did you watch it? Did they reach out to you? How did you feel about it? About No Limit Chronicles? What are your thoughts?
Um, I watched the first episode.
I did too.
Um, and now I knew about it because me and Mercedes talk all the time. That's my sister. And when she did her interview, she had asked me, did I know anything? Had anybody reached out to me? And I told her no. But I didn't know when it was coming out. So I knew about it coming out through social media. Um, and like I said, I watched the first episode, but I wasn't interested. And I'm not saying that as a hating thing. I'm not a TV person for one. And I wasn't interested. And as far as how nobody reached out to me. But I don't have I don't care. I don't have a feeling about it. I look at it like this: when 106 in Park was out and Free and AJ
Mm-hmm.
hosted 106 in Park,
Mm-hmm.
every time they asked, like, if P would take Rome there for My Baby, because it was number one on 106 in Park as well for a while. So he made a couple of appearances on 106 in Park, and every time Free and AJ asked who is the female singing on that song, my name never got mentioned.
Oh,
Um,
wait,
the
wait.
question kind of gotten avoided. They were like, is it really that little girl that's singing on it? We want to have her on. Like, I would see stuff like that.
Oh
So,
no.
and I'm saying that to say, I'm not surprised, because I know if it happened then, it's possible that it could happen now. And why? I don't know, because like I said, I don't have any bad blood. I had no fallouts, no nothing. We did the Essence Festival, 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
where everybody was around, and I was able to perform the song then. So I'm not really sure why I wasn't reached out to. At the end of the day, I'm here. I'm on here with you, and um, I'm a Scorpio, and
And
you already, that's for me, that says enough. I'm a Scorpio, and we don't trip off of the smaller stuff, because for me, if what's meant for me is gonna be for me. And at the end of the day, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So
Yeah.
I'm it don't matter. I'm not tripping.
Yeah, and by the way,
Yeah.
I'm extremely honored. And matter of fact, God, I really need to shout the dude out who reached out to me to reach out to you and made this connection happen because I just couldn't believe it. And like I say, so I want you to also remember that this is also an attribution attribution. I don't know. I wasn't that smart in school. I can
I wasn't even,
attribute
don't
this.
worry.
I can attribute this to this particular gentleman that reached out to me, and if I can find his email, I'll shout him out.
Oh, you
But
don't have to reach out, babe, because let me tell you, he is my biggest fan.
mm,
And I hope he's watching because he's my brother.
oh, really?
And he takes the no limit thing a little bit more to heart than I do. Because of course I'm his sister, I'm his little sister, and he know the work that I put in. But yeah. So what's
Okay.
up, Reggie? If you watching,
Oh,
thank you.
there you go. There
Yeah,
you go. There you go. Okay, good.
yeah.
Because you know what? That's actually kind of how I hooked up with TC. Is that somebody? And
Hmm.
you know, and that's how I know that that interview must have got a lot of views because it was people that saw the Reggie Nelly interview. That's why I got to show love to my brother, man. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
whatever we was talking about, it definitely sparked the conversation, got people's interest, and they reached out, and it's just like it's damn near kind of like a dream for me. And like I said, I'm sure people in the chat is just like, damn, why don't you come on, come chop it up with me, you know what I mean? But it's just kind of like from a fan perspective, I built this platform, advocating for our
Hmm.
babies, which is awesome. And I'm thankful that people have kept an open mind for me to be able to kind of talk about what a huge interest is of mine, and that is y'all career, what you guys have done, what you're doing now, kind of the
Right.
genesis of that whole thing. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely honored that people would reach out to me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I can talk to you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of like when people ask, like, I always tell this story. When there's people that want to go to the NBA, that's their dream. There are people that want to go
Hmm.
to the NFL, that's their dream. There are people that maybe even want to go to high school, go to semi pro. There's two things I always wanted to do. One, play for my high school basketball team and make varsity, which I did, which was awesome. And shout
Hmm.
out to Blake Griffin Daddy, by the way. And the second thing, is I've always wanted to meet everybody from No Limit.
No
My
limit.
two dreams in life. Can you imagine that? How many people get to say that they
Wow.
live out their dreams?
Right. Right.
So, kind of bringing this into fruition, I think is awesome. But let me ask you this: as far as
Hmm.
your exit from No Limit, what happens
Hmm.
to you from that point?
Uh, I was still doing music. I was recording with a lot of people from Baton Rouge. I actually went on a road with Boosie. Like he would do little mini tours, um, like in like the southern states or whatever. And so I would get on the road and do, open up for him. Um, um, the Soldier Slim and BG song. I'm not really sure if everybody familiar with it. That it's on. We've been trapped in this hole for too motherfucking long. Well, that's big in New Orleans. It's big in Louisiana. So um, that was my first. I was able to work with BG, which was a Cash Money artist at the time. So I was, that was exciting for me. Um, I worked with a lot of. It was a lot of people like because around that time when things ended, a lot of local rappers. Um, and I don't want to call them local rappers, Louisiana rappers,
Mm-hmm.
was really trying to do their thing or whatever. So I worked with a lot of artists out of Louisiana after that, and then I kind of went into the zone of relationships and falling in love and having kids and stuff like that. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I never lost a passion for music. That it's a gift. It's a gift of mine, so it never goes away. I just kind of I stepped back from making it a priority because, like I said, I became a mother. My oldest son, he was born in 2002. So that's just and he over there flexing his muscles. But my oldest son, I had him in 2002, and um, I was still doing music, but I wasn't into it as heavy because at that point, music wasn't paying the bills, and I had responsibilities. So I went back to school and just started living more so the corporate side of life, even though I would dib and dab. And speaking of my brother, in 2000, I want to say 14, he started like his own independent label, Zillion Dollar Grind Entertainment, where he had, these two rappers that he was investing in. And he actually convinced me to like work on music and get back in the studio, in which I did. I got online because I really didn't have a big connection with like um, I'm huge on producers who actually are musically inclined, not
Yeah.
just the computer stuff. um and but I at that moment, like I went into like my writing creativity stage. I started listening to beats that people may have sent me throughout the years I still had in my emails. I started going online and just listening to stuff, and I started writing. And in 2015 I released, I think it's 6 7 song EP called More to Come under my brother's independent label, Zillion Dollar Grind. So you can look that up. My YouTube channel is I am Al Dreamer, ALDREAMER, and I do have my songs on that I released on the EP. That's on YouTube. So I still dib and dab in it. It's many a nights I get out of my sleep or I can't go to sleep because songs come to my head and I'm writing. Um, but like I said, I have 3 kids now and I'm married, so I don't want to say that that's an excuse, but um, because I know the way that the industry is, I it has to be a guarantee for me to say, okay, I gotta take a break and really, really, really focus on this music stuff. But it has become more so of a hobby
Hmm.
than a priority,
Yeah.
or um, I'm not gonna say I'm the passion, because the passion is always there.
Right. Right.
If you go look on my Instagram, you'll see I have my moments where I just come in, if something's on my mind and I'm singing or something, or I just wrote something or something like that, I'll go to my Instagram and I'll share it. I'll share it on my Instagram.
Awesome. And I hope you don't mind. I went ahead and put the link to your Instagram in the chat. So people, all they got
Okay.
to do is just click that. Even if they watch it on the replay, the live chat will be
Hmm.
available. They can click it there or they can see it on the screen and know how to follow you. And also, I'm going to pull up the Zillion Dollar Grind Entertainment, which also has one of your videos, which we'll play that here in a moment. But if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, I think the correct channel is Zillion Dollar Grind Entertainment, right?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and post that in the chat, which is a YouTube channel. So make sure you guys subscribe there. You guys know that I hardly ever
Thank you.
promote any YouTube channels, but go ahead and subscribe to that if you guys want to. Definitely for the people who are here or people who watch this on the replay. Definitely make sure and support. Follow her on Instagram. Follow her on YouTube. Make sure and let them know that the AMC sent you. Make sure y'all send her some love and support anything that she has going on. And so there's one more question. People are saying, and
Hmm.
somebody also said that the man who married you is a very lucky man. So yeah, you get a lot of awesome comments in
And
there.
vice
So,
versa. Thank you.
but they're asking, do you still make music as of today?
I do. I mean, like I said, I still do. As a matter of fact, I just recently got a phone call, an opportunity. Uh, I just recently got a phone call, an opportunity where we're getting ready to do some big things, shoot some videos. And I just recently um, did a song with Crazy, and I'm not really sure if everybody's familiar, because No Limit Gangsta, even though I know him from VR, outside of No Limit, but he's been running with P for a while too.
The
We
dude, the
all
dude, the dude that's
They were at
out.
my cousin's house. Beat Flipper, he's a producer. He does a lot of blues beats now, but he used to do this thing with the rap too back in the day.
Mhm.
Anyways, they were at his house recently and called me over. We got together. We did a song, We're supposed to be shooting videos for those, and also I got a call for an opportunity that I'm really excited about. Linking back up with some people and doing some big things. So, I don't know if Miss Peaches is going to resurface as big as I want Al Dreamer to resurface because, I grew. Oh, and just to clarify, I was Peaches from a little girl,
Okay.
So No Limit didn't give me that. I was Peaches way before No Limit. But if things about the resurface, things are coming back to a full circle. I'm excited about it because the one thing that my kids know I love music, and I always try to tell them to go for what you love, for what you have a passion for, and but I also teach them have a backup just from my experience. Always have something to fall back on just in case and it doesn't matter if you don't make it. Anything can happen if you make it. So, um, anyways, I can go on and on. Sorry,
Oh no,
but
no,
yeah,
you're good. Like I said, this the whole point was, like I say, I think that people are not only shocked to hear you, because like I say, this is like an honor and a privilege, but our whole point and purpose is to listen to you. And by the way, and for people who was wondering, or maybe who don't know who Crazy is the dude who initially got introduced. This was around the 504 Boys um, first album, and they said that he sounded like Tupac, supposedly,
right,
kinda.
right.
I was a Tupac fan, so that
Mhm.
kind of hit me a little different, what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm
I
like,
mean, and we have that conversation. He's aware that a lot of people feel like that, but it is what it is. He's talented. I can tell you that he's very talented. I watch Crazy come up, with hooks and songs off the top of his head. So regardless of the fact, who he may sound similar to, he's creative and he's an artist, and that's one thing that because Mac used to call me Peaches J. Blige.
mm,
That was his name, Mac, and another artist, Sam. Um, they used to call me Peaches J. Blige. Mac used to even put it in his album credits, Peaches J. Blige, because a lot of people would compare me to Mary J. at times, which I mean, and to me that's a compliment. And so I feel like with Crazy, that's a compliment. You sound like Tupac. Take it for what it's worth. Um, but never let the outside take away from your creativity and your passion, because where Crazy comes from, you know, that was his ticket out. You know what
mm-hmm.
I'm saying? No Limit was, I'm not gonna say my ticket out because I didn't come from the gutter, but No Limit was my ticket in the door, was my foot in the industry. Even though I didn't get to play a major part of that Lil Romeo song, one of the highlights of that song was performed in front of Michael Jackson, and I literally was watching on TV, even though I was kind of pissed I was watching on TV, but Michael Jackson was actually singing along with my voice, and for me as an artist, that meant everything. Like, he know the song, he know my voice, so that means he listens to me.
Yes.
That's huge.
How
You
many
know what I'm
and how
saying?
many how
So
many people can say that?
right, right, yeah. Yeah, for his 20, I think it may have been like the 25th, or it was some anniversary, something that Michael Jackson had. And actually, I didn't know anything about it. My mom got a phone call um, telling me to turn the TV on. Uh, and I turned the TV on, and lo and behold, um, whoever the little girl was, Millie Vanilla in me, um, was singing a song. But when the camera pointed to Michael Jackson and he was on the front row with his hands like this, and he was singing the song along with the music, I just was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was huge. So it was part of my success, even though I didn't get to play a part of it, but it's still part of my success.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I thank you so much for spending any amount of time with me. Like I say, you didn't really know me like that, but I got to give a shout out again to Reginald, not
Hmm.
Reginelli on this particular one, but to Reginald. Your
Right.
your brother. thank you for reaching
Yes.
out to me, and I want to say thank you for being open-minded and having an open heart
Hmm.
to be able to come on and just really just share with us, because there are more fans out there than just me. You got a lot of fans that are typing to you in the chat right now. You'll be able to see it if you watch it on the replay. But you have a
Okay.
lot of fans out there that still love you, that
Thank
still care
y'all.
about you, and still want to follow you.
Okay, well, y'all follow me, and thank you too. And I just want everybody to know this is just not me. Now this was me during No Limit era too. I'm very much down to earth. I never was, you know, on a high horse. I'm me. I'm gonna always be me, and it's a pleasure to even be on here. So thank you for having me. Thanks to my big bro for reaching out to you, and follow me again at I underscore am underscore Aldrima, and I think you said you pinned it. So, and check out my music. And like I said, like the name of that EP was More to Come, and that's because I knew there is more to come. So trust and believe. Um, you know, 2020, the end of 20, because we still in 2020. So I'm claiming 2020, 2021. I am ready to really show the world that there is no limit. There was no limit before no limit, and it's still not a limit. So just be looking out.
All right, it's an honor, and thank you so much. You enjoy your evening, and we will keep in touch. And I'll make sure I make those connections, because I'm not going to forget about that for you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Y'all have a good night.
All right,
Bye.
and I'm gonna close this out, and I'm gonna play